Well, good morning on this Saturday morning. Good Saturday morning to you all. I'll give everyone a few minutes to get logged in. This is not a scheduled podcast. I'm just sitting here this morning, got back from the post office. I had some books to mail and some things to put in the mail and had a little time, so I thought I'd do a little podcast. We weren't on yesterday. We were busy yesterday with family. Our granddaughters is visiting with us for a couple of days, and so we spent the day with her and had a great time and had some good food and some good fellowship and had a little fun and did a little shopping, and so it was a good day. And so rested good last night, and hope you're feeling good this morning. Hope you're well and enjoying your weekends. We get ready for the Lord's Day tomorrow. I hope you'll be in your place in the Lord's house, and it's always an honor and a privilege here in this country of ours. We have the freedom to worship. Let's don't ever take that for granted. We could lose that. We don't want to lose that. We don't want to take it for granted, and support your pastor, your man of God, most of all, in obedience to the word of God. Forsake not the assembling of yourselves together, as the manner of some is, but so much more as you see the day approaching. So that's the command of scriptures for us to be faithful to God's house. Looking forward to seeing our pastor tomorrow back in the pulpit. He was gone this week in youth camp, and he'll be back in the morning. And looking forward to our Sunday school and preaching all day tomorrow. So excited, and hope you're excited too. That's just a few things to talk about this morning. There's a lot of things happening in the news. Of course, still want to pray for the flood victims. We'll talk about that in just a little bit and what's going on there. And then I want to talk a little bit about this Epstein file case. Just some things on my heart. Maybe some things just to share with you what my opinion is and what I think. It doesn't mean much. I'm like everybody else, got an opinion. But I know a lot of folks are concerned about it, a lot of questions, and I think I'll just put my 2 cents worth in, and I'll leave it at that. Well, you know, Paul told Timothy, he said, in the last days, perilous times, dangerous times. Hey, Miss Phyllis, dangerous times are coming, and we are living in those dangerous times. I heard it preached all my life as a young boy. I heard Jesus was coming, and I heard that it was going to get bad, and things are going to get worse, and I heard it. I heard it preached and heard it taught and believed it. But, we're here now. We're here. It's the dangerous times of Timothy 3, 2 Timothy 3 is here, the last days. Disobedient to parents and truce breakers, incontinent, fierce, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. All that's today. We're living there. We're a part of that generation. And Paul also said in the last days there'd be a great falling away. There'd be an apostasy. And there is a great spiritual falling away. I see pictures of churches on Sunday in their worship services that I've preached in before that used to be filled to capacity. And now if they have 20 or 30 or 40, they're fortunate. And I know it's not about numbers. Don't text me and tell me that I'm just concerned for. It's not about numbers, although God did write a book of numbers, and numbers were important. Hey, Miss Amber, hope you're doing well this morning. And so I know it is about numbers, because God makes it important. Every head counts, every person counts. But if there's two, or if there's 2,000, God loves them all. But we are seeing the great falling away. Churches that used to have buildings that were packed full now have barely just enough to keep the doors open. And it's sad. A lot of churches have closed their doors, and they're being sold for something else, used for something else, and some are being torn down. Some were torn down in the floods recently here in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. We lost quite a few churches that were destroyed in the flood that are having to be rebuilt from scratch. A lot of things are happening. So we're in those last days. And that old song I sung a couple weeks ago, thought I'd sing it again this morning. It just reminds us where we are. Troublesome times are here, filling my heart with fear. Freedom we all hold dear, now is at stake. Humble your hearts to God, safe from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. Here's the good news: Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their dooms, trumpets will sound. All the dead shall rise, righteous meet in the skies. Going where no one dies, heavenward bound. Troubles will soon be o'er, happy forevermore. When we reach on that shore, free from from all care. Rising up in the skies, telling this world goodbye. Only then shall thy glory to share. Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom. Trumpets will sound. All the dead shall rise, righteous meet in the skies, going where no one dies, heavenward bound. Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom. Trumpets will sound. All the dead shall rise, righteous meet in the skies, going where no one dies, heavenward bound. Well, he's a-coming. Jesus is coming soon. It could be today. I wish it was, don't you? I mean, wouldn't it be good if the Lord just come today and take us out of this old sin-cursed world? Man, I'm longing for home. I guess going through cancer made me a little homesick. Heaven looked more real and looked closer than it's ever looked. And I wouldn't much care if the Lord to come today. Hey, Claudia, I hope you're doing well. But I'm looking forward to the Lord to come. I looked for him this morning. He didn't come last night. He hasn't come yet today. I was a little disappointed, but if he doesn't come today, I'll look for him tonight. If he doesn't come tonight, I'll look for him tomorrow. But one morning or one night, we're going to wake up in heaven, and I can't wait. We're going to wake up as the Lord's trumpet sounds, and we're going to be called up to meet the Lord in the air, and we're going to meet up above the treetops and see our loved ones and our friends that's gone on, and we'll see the Lord Jesus, and we'll go to heaven to be with him, and it's going to be a grand and glorious time, and I can't wait. I'm excited about getting a new body and get rid of these old aches and pains and all the things that keep this old body from doing the things you want to do. Old age is creeping on, and I'm just looking forward to the Lord's return. I hope you are. If you're saved, it ought to be exciting to you. If you're not saved, it ought to be fearful to you. And you don't have to be afraid. You can get saved today, and you can make yourself ready. Hey, Bert, hope you're doing good on this Saturday. Give my love to your precious wife. Tell Miss Carolyn I said hello, and I hope everybody's excited about this weekend as we meet the Lord at the Lord's house tomorrow. I didn't have a podcast yesterday. I did it on Thursday. One of my granddaughters, she'll be 16 here, I can't believe it. I've got a granddaughter turning 21 in August, and got this one turning 16. I already got another one 16 going on 17, and got a boy soon be 15, 16. So, hey, Deanie, kids are growing up, my grandkids. I got a granddaughter of 21 years old. I'm telling you, things just passing by so fast. But she came to spend the weekend with us. Her dad, mom's took a couple of days off. He travels all the time in meetings. And so she was with us, came Thursday, and we went off yesterday and did a little shopping and had a good meal at one of our favorite restaurants, and went to visit a place I'd heard about. It's only been open about a month, and it's built by the same people that did the Ark in the Creation Museum up in Kentucky. And hey, Kevin, hey, Paige, and it's called Truth Traveler. It's very, very good. It's a virtual reality ride, and then they have a planetarium, and everything's based on the Bible, on the creation of God. And it was, I'm telling you, I had a time. I shouted, I cried, and you ride. You have a virtual ride that takes you back in time and takes you from the Garden of Eden all the way to the coming to Christ. And there is a chipmunk on my porch coming up here just within 6 feet of me. Isn't that wonderful? I've seen him run across the porch, but I've never been out here sitting when he was that close. Little chipmunk. And I need to give him a name, I guess. He's nested somewhere close to here because he hangs around on my porch, and I see him all the time when I drive in. He'll run across the driveway or run across the porch when I come out. And he just came up here while I was sitting here. He didn't know I was here. He came around the corner, and there I was on the back porch, and he kind of looked and startled, then he took off. So anyway, I love it. We got squirrels, we got chipmunks, we got turkeys. I pulled back in from going to the post office, and there's 2 deer standing in my front yard and 2 mamas. We had 2 mamas that had one little baby apiece, and then another mama showed up this week that had twins. So we got 4 running around in the yard, and it's about what we usually have. We usually have about 3 to 5 babies every year in the yard. A lot of times they They bed down in the yard. You'll come out and they'll be bedded down out here in the back, mama and baby. And the mom will be feeding, the baby will be curled up asleep. So they feel comfortable here. The 9 years, almost 10 years we've been here. Hey, Hannah, hope you're doing well. Steve, hey, Brother Steve Goodman. Good to see you on here this morning. So we live in a beautiful, quiet place. The birds are chirping this morning. We live right outside of the city limits here in Kingsport, up on a mountain. And I don't know, we're about 1,500 feet elevation. It's not that high, 1,500 feet above sea level. It's not a big, tall mountain, but it's right on the else. Hear that? Isn't that pretty? Robins. And we live on a dead-end road. The main road is right over here. We come off the main road, and we're on a dead-end road. It's a mile. We're just right off the road. But if you listen, there's nothing. You don't hear any traffic. We very seldom hear any traffic, even though it goes by. We're far enough off the road, and trees around us kind of block off the traffic, and very few cars and trucks go by our house because it's a dead end. Only five or six houses on this road. There's six, but one house is empty. The older two brothers that were, they're older. I think they're either passed away or in nursing homes. They're not there anymore. And they have two houses on this road, and I think both of those are empty. So there's really only, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 5 houses on this road that's inhabited. And the last house is a mile down to the end at the turnaround. And that's the lady that owns about 100 acres, her and her husband, and she's a descendant of the McCulleys. We live on McCulley Lane, and this used to be the largest, well, I guess you'd call it a plantation. It was a farm back then. This was still North Carolina. Back then, they wanted to call it Franklin. State of Franklin is what they were going to call it. And we have a hospital in Johnson City called the State of Franklin and State of Franklin Road. But they were going to call this the State of Franklin instead of Tennessee. But it was part of North Carolina, and Benjamin Franklin, they were going to name it after him, the State of Franklin. And then later on, they annexed it and made it Tennessee. And so I can be in Virginia in less than 10 minutes, and I can be in North Carolina in 20 or 30 minutes, about 30 minutes. I can be in North Carolina. And so we're just right here on the tri-state area. And I can be in Kentucky in less than about an hour, up in Kentucky, up in Middlesburg. They're going through Cumberland Gap. So we're in a good part of the country, in the mountains, East Tennessee. We love it. The people are so nice. Things are a little slower here, and it's a little cheaper to live here. We don't have state tax, and our sales tax is a little higher than North Carolina's, but we don't have any state tax, and we don't have inspection on our cars, and just a lot of things are cheaper. And living's a little bit cheaper here. Groceries, things a little bit cheaper, but the folks are slower, just a little laid back. And we're right here in the mountains, and you can drive in 10 or 15 minutes in any direction and be in the heart of the mountains. I mean, really curvy mountain roads that are turning around and you see your taillights, that kind of thing. But we're right here out of the city limits and just really peaceful. God gave us this place. When I moved out here to pastor, this house was for sale by the owner, and it was everything we wanted. I had drawn up plans of a house almost identical to this, except it was a log house. And it was bigger, but it was the same pattern. And this guy had it for sale. His home had broken up, and he was trying to sell it. And he tried to sell it several times, and he rented it a couple of times, but he just couldn't seem to get rid of it. He's waiting on us. And we came and looked it over, and as soon as I drove up, I knew it was the house. And we looked inside, and he showed us around, and I started crying. And I told my wife, I said, "This is the place." She said, "I know." She was crying too. And I asked the guy, I said, "Look," I said, "we're moving from North Carolina to take a church." And I said, "I've been in evangelism for years." And I said, "We want to buy this." But I said, "We've got to move everything." And I said, "There's got to be some work done to the house." The colors were awful. The last people that lived here had awful colors inside. I mean, horrendous colors. And then there's a few things that need to be repaired and just updated. Some handrails on the steps to the porch, and a porch built coming out of the kitchen into the garage. It was just a little step, and it's very steep. So I want to build a little stoop, a little porch, and just a few things. So we took about 3 weeks, I guess. We stayed in a motel for a couple of weeks and got everything prepared. But I told him, I said, "I don't want to rent it. I really don't." I said, "I'd like to be able to rent it or lease it for at least a few months until I can get my loan and get everything cleared." He said, "Man, I don't want to rent it again." I said, "Well, I promise you." I said, "I'll sign a lease contract, whatever you want to do." He said, "I'll lease it for 6 months if you pay it in advance." So we paid 6 months in advance, and then we closed it out before the 6 months. Got our loan, got everything done, and he was happy. He gave us a good deal because of that, and applied some of the down payment we had, some of the 6 months that we put in on the lease, applied it to the down payment, and we was able to purchase the house and got it at a real steal. And the market value now is almost Well, I won't tell you the exact number, but it's more than double value. I could sell it now and make more than double what I paid for it, way more than double, almost 2.5 times more. And it's about 2,200 square feet, and we've only got 2 bedrooms that we use as bedrooms. We turned another one into a downstairs bedroom. We turned it into a kind of a man cave as an extra den. I've got my hunting heads and just a good sitting area, and it comes out to the back porch here. And then another bedroom upstairs I turned into my office. But we could turn this one downstairs into the main bedroom because it connects to a bathroom downstairs. So it could be 3 bedrooms easy. And you could turn the office back into a bedroom, just tear out the shelves. It wouldn't be a major job. But it's really a 4 bedroom, 2 bath house. And very, very nice. Got a double garage and got a good backyard and a few trees around and good neighbors, best neighbors I've ever had. Barry lives beside of me. And when I was sick, he's mowed my yard and come over and checked on me. Just really good area to live in. Hey, Laura, I hope you're doing well. So it's just been a good place to live for almost 9.5 years. So I guess we'll go to heaven from here unless God knows something I don't know about the future plans. But I plan on dying here and are going to heaven from here, whichever the case may be. And so we love it here. It's peaceful, and we just coming into the house. This is the place of peace, and that's what we wanted, a peaceful place. And it's so quiet, and everybody comes here just says the same thing. It's this peace in our house and peace around our house. And it's got a wraparound porch. You know, we had a deck on the back that we tore down 2 years ago, right when I was taking cancer treatment started. And I hired a good Christian friend from over in North Carolina. He and his crew came over and built me a back porch that I'm sitting on. It's a covered back porch, and it's made with an old pine beam with the old pine, L braces, and it looks like an old country porch. And we got antiques on the back and wicker furniture and stuff hanging all over the walls. I mean, you can see it. It's really nice. Got some stuff, some old decorations hanging on the wall, and you see the ceiling made with the pine knot ceiling, knotted pine, tongue and groove, and so it's just really, really a nice place. It's quiet back here in the mornings, especially. The sun doesn't come back here in the mornings. It's just a good place to come and relax. And I got a stool I can prop my feet up on. And I got a little fan here beside of me. And so it's just a nice place to sit. Well, this morning I want to just kind of share a little bit on my mind. You're watching the news the last 6 months. A lot of changes taking place, and our president's trying to clean up the mess from the last administration. I'm not trying to make you mad if you voted for somebody else beside the president that's now our president. But maybe you don't like him. That's your opinion. And I don't like everything about him. He needs to clean up his mouth a little bit, but that'll be between him and God. But he does, I think, fear God. And I think since his life was attempted twice, I think that it's changed his thinking. And he gives a lot of recognition to God, but I just wish he'd clean up his speech a little bit. But God will have to work on that. That's not mine to deal with. But I like some of the decisions that he's making, especially trying to get, hey, Miss Lee, all the way from the Canadian border. So good to see you this morning. Thank you for the sweet message you sent me the other night. That's made my day. When I read, I let my wife listen to it. It made my day, and I appreciate what you said. I want to reflect Christ in a tender, humble way. I'm just old country boy. I've been preaching for 50 years, and I've preached hard. They say I used to be mean as a junkyard dog, and I preached hard on sin. I did. But I've always had a love for people and a love for sinners, and tried to, hey, son, hope you're doing well. Your daughter is well and fine. She's still in the bed this morning. We had a great time yesterday. We're going to take you over where we went. You would like that. I'm telling you what, the Truth Traveler was really, really worth the money, and we had a time. I cried. I like to shout it. I'm afraid I'd scare everybody. And some were hollering because the ride was really real. It was a virtual reality ride. It was really real. But they're still working on. They're going to add a lot more to it. But they've done a great job, and the planetarium was really good. So you'll have to go over there, you and Laura. And I know y'all enjoy it. I hope y'all having a good time getting away for a couple of days. We've been praying for you this morning. But as I was responding to Lee, I do want to have that humble spirit, and I want to come across in a way that has a love and compassion for people, because I do. I really do. And I think the last couple of years has changed a lot too. Plus, too, being 69, pushing toward 70, when you get toward that 70 mark, life changes things. And when you go through 70 years of living, it changes the way you look at things. You become more tolerant. and you become more long-suffering toward people. I can't change. I guess I've learned one thing in all these years of living, that I can't change people. I've always wanted to. I've wanted people to do right, but I can't change people. And if somebody's going to live right, they're going to live right. If they're going to live wrong, they're going to live wrong. Nothing I can do about it. But I'm going to tell them the truth. But I can't spend nights sleepless trying to figure out how to make them do right. I can't make folks come to church if they don't want to come to church. I can't make them. And I can't get them all. Hey, Brother Ron Hodge, long time, my brother. I think about you and the meeting up in, we did a meeting up there at Romeo, Michigan years ago. And then you preached for me when I was down in Salisbury, North Carolina years ago. And I believe you had a brother that was doing some work in Canada. Don, I believe you had a brother named Don Hodge. I believe that's right. And I hope you're doing well. I see you on Facebook once in a while. Haven't seen you in many, 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 many moons. But I'm glad you're still serving the Lord. But you know, when you get to the 70 mark and you live 70 years, it changes how you look at things. And you don't compromise. You don't change what you believe. But it makes you more tolerant. Hey, Brother Alan Salway, hope you're doing good. It just changes the way you look at things. And you just have to accept the fact that you can't change people. And you can't make people do right. If they're going to do right, they will. If they don't, they don't. But you just have to give them the truth. God didn't call me to win everybody, but God called me to tell everybody. And God didn't call me to change anybody. God just told me to preach the truth. And so I try to do that now that I'm not preaching anymore because of my health, except I'm doing the ministry and social media, and I've got meetings for this fall. I'm going to start back doing some limited pulpit engagements, but I'm not going to be preaching a full-time evangelistic schedule again. But it changes the way you do things. And so, but we've seen a lot happen in the last 6 months with the new administration. And a lot of people have been shipped out of the country that were here illegally. And I'm not against immigrants. My family was a family of immigrants. We came across, and I've researched my family back to the 1600s when our family came across on a ship and scattered around the North Carolina, Virginia borders where they came into. And some migrated down to North Carolina, some migrated out to Tennessee, and some stayed in Virginia. And most of my family that came off of that one branch came down into the Carolinas. That's where my family roots go to. And William Henry Harrison, the president, is part of my family tree. And William Henry Harrison. So, you know, we were immigrants. But the thing about immigration, and our nation is built on immigrants, but you got to come in the right way. And the last administration let 20 million plus come in, and they were unvetted. And we've got millions that don't even know where they are, what they're doing. And thousands of them were criminals with criminal warrants for their arrest. And they've committed rape and murder and destruction and just causing chaos. And we've got a lot of these street gangs and these cartels that are in our nation, plus a lot of spies they've sent in, some of these secret groups that are in here that have been put in to espionage from the inside, to destroy our country from the inside. These terrorist organizations have infiltrated our society. So our president is trying to do everything he can to get ICE and FBI and the Homeland Security to get rid of as many as we can. And then, you know, of course, the liberals are fighting it. They're throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails and trying to protest everything that's being done. And, you know, I'm all for the right to free speech and protest, but when you start firing at agents and throwing Molotov cocktails and injuring agents and putting people's lives in jeopardy, that's not protest, that's anarchy. And so that's going to have to change. And our president yesterday issued the right for our ICE agents to arrest anyone. If they start throwing things and damage vehicles and put our men in jeopardy, they can stop their cars, get out and arrest them then and take them to jail. And thank God we finally got where they can do that. We've untied their hands so they can protect themselves. And one of the big things that's been in the news this week, and we have two of our FBI heads, Kash Patel and Don Bongino, and I like Don Bongino. He was a big podcaster for a while, had a big following. Kind of took on the shoes kind of Rush Limbaugh after he went off the scene. Nowhere near what Rush did, and he was nowhere near the man that Rush was. But he was similar in that he tried to deal with stuff from a conservative standpoint. But he had more insight on some things because he was a Secret Service agent for years, and he was tasked to the presidents, and he served several presidents. So he had some insight that a lot of guys wouldn't have. And I like Dan Bongino. He had another one needs to clean up some of his mouth, but he professes to be a Christian or religious, I guess I'd say. And but he's on the verge of resigning from the FBI. And then I read last night where Kash Patel is also refreshing and rethinking his place in the FBI on the basis of what's happened this week with the Epstein files. And of course, we've heard that until it's run in the ground, and I know a lot of folks are tired of hearing it. But I'll just put in my 2 cents worth. I read this morning where the Epstein attorney made a statement on Fox, and I read it this morning on Fox News on my phone, where the attorney says, talking about this client list, said that there is a black book, and Epstein did have a black book, and it does have a list of clients. You know, and Epstein was accused of being involved in sex trafficking, and he was a pedophile, and he had that island that many famous people were brought to that island to party, and basically were given all the drugs and alcohol, and basically were given all the women or boys or girls that they wanted for their perversion. And so the attorney said that he did have a black book with a client list, but not all the clients were clients that were just always looking for a girl or a boy of a certain age, or a young girl, to meet their perverted desires. It wasn't just a sex trafficking list or a list of people that wanted drugs or wanted to come to the island for a getaway for their lustful desires to be fulfilled, but it was a client list for business and other stuff. But what happened to make this thing hit the fan was our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, made a statement last week that they asked her about the files, and they said they were on her desk. And then this week she has said that basically that the case is closed, and there is no list, a client list of basically people that were a part of this sexual perversion, things that Epstein was accused of. And so there's been kind of a double talk. First there's a list, first it's going to be made public, and now the case is being closed. And Dan Bongino's hit the ceiling, because he says that the reason that it's not being released, and there's a lot of other people feel the same way. Our senator here, Marshberger, she's one of our senators, and she believes the reason that it's not being released is because there's a lot of names in it that if it was released, it would start an avalanche of destruction among powerful leaders. Because from what I understand, supposedly, hey, Willie Willis, supposedly there are not only strong politicians that we all know on that list, but there's also actors and actresses. There are famous musicians like Lady Gaga, people like that partied with Epstein and Diddy and some of the others. And then there were also millionaire, billionaire types, business people that were part of that list, because they all partied on the island. And so the word behind the scenes is that if that book was ever released, that it would cause such an avalanche of people being exposed that would basically probably unrest our government, because many of our government leaders could be brought to case with the accusations in that book. And then there's also a controversy, too, that Bongino brought up, and some of the other people I mentioned brought up over the tapes that they released. They released about 10 hours of tapes the last day Epstein was alive and in prison or in jail before he was ever brought to trial. And those last 10 hours end up showing him being hung. But yet there's a minute that's missing. They say it was because of something happened in the equipment being reset, and they lost a minute. But I also read, too, in the autopsy, one of the doctors said that the damage done to Epstein's neck was not the damage that was caused by a hanging, typically, but it looked more like the damage that would be caused by strangulation, a murderous strangulation. So with the question marks about how Epstein died, and the question marks about this black book, quote unquote, clients list, and the question about our president and leaders saying they were going to make all of this public, along with all the public files concerning the Kennedy assassination and the King assassination, and a lot of other things America's been wanting to know about. And so they said this week that the Epstein case was closed. And so Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, and then Dan Bongino, FBI director, are now in the position where they're considering and reconsidering whether or not they can serve with Pam Bondi as Attorney General. And they're even calling for her firing. And so we've got a lot of unrest. I'll just say this. I don't know if any of this is true. I assume that, I'm not going to fall into the liberals' arms where they say that if there's accusation, there must be some truth to if there's any accusation, there has to be some element of truth. There must be some guilt to it. If somebody says that they did it, then there has to be some truth connected with it. And I can't say that because that's not what our country's built on. Our country's built on the premise that you're innocent until proven guilty. And so none of this has been proven. It's all been speculated. Hey, Jeff Schuler. And there's a lot of people that's come forward that's made these speculations more than speculation. They seem to have validity to them. And I wouldn't be surprised that if the Black Book exists, that there's a lot of people on it that don't want their name revealed. But one of the problems is the court ordered it to be sealed, and then the court has ordered it to be unsealed. The FBI supposedly has control of it, but the Attorney General says the case is closed. And President Trump will have the final say-so. And his answer this week was not as good as it should have been. It was a little iffy when he basically rebuked the reporters for asking it and said, you guys are still on this. With all this going on and happened in the last 2 weeks, you guys are still on this crud of a piece of humanity, Epstein. That's all you want to talk about. So there's some credibility issues, and truth is always at stake. So what do you do? I thought about it yesterday when we was out, and I thought about it this morning when I got up and thought about doing the podcast, and I thought about saying something about it. And I thought about, well, what's my opinion on it? What do you do? Well, my hands are tied. Yours are too. We can't do anything. And even if they brought the Black Book out and there were 2,000 names and we knew every one of them and they all deserved to go to jail, we can do nothing about it except just protest and voice our opinions. But the problem I see, and this is where I'm at, we harped on this for 4 years in the last administration, that we lost trust in our officers, in our FBI, and in our Attorney General, and in our government. We lost trust because of all the crooked and all the things, all the accusations brought against President Trump. We now find out all that dossier and all that was a hoax. Hillary Clinton paid to have that put into reality, to make that a real thing, and accused Trump, and he was, brought to trial, so to speak, by the Congress, and he was, what's the word I'm looking for? As a president, he was, well, you know what I'm talking about. But my mind just went blank. But he was tried and brought all this stuff out, and but now we know all that stuff, the Russian collusion, all that stuff was fake. And so a lot of people, including me, lost trust in our government, especially in our FBI, because they were behind all of that. So when Trump took office, one of the things he campaigned on was that we was going to restore trust to the FBI and to the DOJ. And it looked like we were heading in the right direction. But this is a real bump in the road for me, because this causes me to throw up flags and say, is this going to be another business as usual, that we're not going to reveal the truth and do a cover-up again for a man that's not worth covering up, just because there's people on that list that we don't want nobody to know about? Too much. The bottom line is, you know what it is? There's a verse in the Bible, and a lot of folks misquote it, but the love of money is the root of all evil. And if you want to get down to the brass tacks of what all is behind all of this, it's the love of money. There's too many people that are making too much money in too many positions of authority that they don't want to lose that. And so to reveal all these names would mean to cut off their sugar daddies. And they're not going to do that, both those in the Republican and Democratic Party. So we're back to square one, and all we can do as a people is pray. Pray that somebody gets enough guts to do what's right, and pray that our president quits worrying about what people may think, or and get some. He's got backbone, but I'm not sure why he's backing up on this. And we may be wrong. There may be nothing more to the story. Epstein may have been, he may have committed suicide, and the list they have may be nothing more than just a list of business partners and business people that he did business with and friends. That may be all it is, but I can't believe that knowing what I know. So we can only pray that somebody in leadership does right. I hope Dan Bongino doesn't resign, and I hope Kash Patel doesn't resign, because they're too good and in too high a position and have done too much good already, and they've got 3.5 more years they can serve and can do a lot of good for our men and women in the FBI and for the DOJ, the same thing. I hope that these good men stay in office and don't resign, because resigning won't solve anything except make a statement. But then it opens up the door for somebody worse than them to come in that will easily and readily cover up what's there. And I'd rather take a chance with Patel and Bongino being men of honesty and men that are upset with what's going on and protest it, than for them to step down and then somebody else come in that gets along a lot easier and just lets business as usual continue. So what we need to do is we just need to pray. That almost sounds like a cop-out at times. When I say that and people hear that, I almost feel at times like, well, you're just copping out, preacher. Why don't you get you a sign and go up to Washington and get in a line and protest? Well, that's not going to do any good either. Really, prayer is not a cop-out, although we may feel like it at times. Prayer is the greatest thing we can do, because prayer activates the hand of God, and God is the only one who can fix this, not man. So we need to pray that the God of heaven will move on our behalf, because the Bible says the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, and like rivers of water, he moveth his turneth it whithersoever he will. So God can turn the heart of Trump, and God can turn the heart of Pam Bondi, and God can turn the heart of everyone in authority. So we need to pray that God would turn their hearts to do right, whatever that is. If that's exposing something, or if that's doing something that we maybe don't like. But whatever is the right thing to do, that they will have the courage and the motivation from God to do right. So that takes God's people banding together to pray. And then we have to just quit whining and bellyaching and do our part to vote at the election when the booth opens up to vote. Try to put in men and women that we believe are people that we think can do a good job. If they're Christians and love God, if we can support them that way, fine. If they're not Christians, but they're the lesser of the two evils, we have to go that route sometimes. And sometimes we don't vote for anybody. There's times I don't vote for anybody. I leave it blank because I can't support them. Somebody's going to get voted in, but I can't support them. And there's nobody I can put my endorsement on. So we just have to pray and leave it in the hands of God and do what we can do. And that's pray and vote and be faithful to our church and try to help in our local areas to change what we can change. And that's pretty well it. And then not get so sidetracked with this. It's something that if you don't watch yourself, you can get so sidetracked with this that you can become a conspiracy theorist. And that's all you do is look for conspiracies and spend all your days reading Fox and other podcasts and other things that come on the internet and Google, and just read report after report after report of somebody else saying something else. And before you know it, you've wasted a lot of time on something that in eternity is not going to be worth anything. So we could do better by serving our church and going after sinners and trying to change our nation by reaching the lost. The greatest thing that could happen to our nation is to have a move of God, to see a spiritual revival. And that would change a lot of things and make things a whole lot better if we had a move of God. That's what I'm praying for. So I just want to come on this morning and sing you a song and talk to you a little bit from my heart. And thank you for helping me make this podcast successful. I went to bed last night and my viewership was 465,000 for the last 8 weeks. So we're going to hit 500,000 by Monday. We'll hit 500,000 views in an 8-week span, because the 8 weeks move as each day goes by. They take a day off from the past and move it a day forward. So it runs on 28-day cycles, and I can also punch in a 90-day cycle. And the 90-day cycle showed that last night there's like 463,000, or 465,000 in the last 90 days, but also in the last 8 weeks, there's been more. It's been because I did, before we started this 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, we didn't have that many views. So in the last 8 weeks, we've had 465,000 views. So we'll hit 500,000 views by Monday, Lord willing, Monday or Tuesday. And at that rate, if we continue building and doing what we're doing now, we have pushing toward 8,000 followers and we have 5,000 friends. And we've got Spotify up and running that we're going to fix to expand it more. YouTube's up and running. And if God helps us and we continue to build this, we'll see a couple million views every year. We'll see 1 million views every 90 days. And that'd be awesome. I'm pushing for 10,000 followers. That's my next goal, is to reach 10,000 followers. So you can help us by, if you're not a follower, to hit the follow button. And another way you can help us is subscribe to this Facebook page. Go to the subscribe button and hit the subscribe button. It'll take you to an off-site secure page. And 99 cents a month is all it is, and it will help me financially. We can build this site and we get a little kickback. They'll begin doing some advertisements pretty soon in some of my videos. There'll be advertisements in a way that they can make money off of my viewership, and I'll get some kickback off of it. That'll help me since I'm off the road and trying to build this social media and platform. And we're going to be doing some Zoom calls to other nations and doing some meetings to church congregations and some crusades. We're going to be doing some Zoom calls, preach the gospel in Pakistan, India, and in Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, some other nations that pastors have asked us, will we do a Zoom call and preach the gospel or teach to pastors? And so we're going to do that. So you're going to help us do that and to build our pages and reach more. So if you'll hit the subscribe button, that will help me. You say, what's 99 cents? A little as much of God is in it. If I could get to 200 or 300 subscribers at 99 cents a month, you figure it out, that would really go a long ways. And then also, you can also buy stars. You'll see that on the Facebook page, there's a thing that says stars. I think for $1, you can buy 100 stars or whatever it is. I think it's almost $1 for 80 stars. I believe it is 80 stars. And then you can hit those stars while I'm doing a live video, and those stars will be put on my account, and I'll get some of the kickback off of that. And then another way, too, you can help me is by buying the book offers we have. Hey, Rachel, hope you're doing well, you and your little girl. I keep up with you on Facebook. And we've been doing a book offer this week. I'll have a new book offer for this coming week, some of our books. And then pray for our new book that's coming out. The publisher has it in his hands now. He's reading. The final edited copy has been edited. Oh, my goodness. I've read it 7 times. The editor read it 3 times, and AI did it twice. And then my son and my wife read it twice. My son's read it a couple times, so it's been edited by us as far as me, and the editor and the AI has done it 13 times. So I went back again this week and read my 8th time and found about 8 or 10 changes I wanted to make. So I'll give that final one to the publisher with some new changes. And so it's been edited. The publisher's got it. As soon as he approves it, we're going to publish the book. It'll go to the printers. We've already got the cover design. I have 6 preachers now, 6 men, close friends of mine, Dr. Ron Comfort, Dr. Johnny Pope, Dr. Billy Krieger from Kansas, my mind went blank, Dr. Nelson Wright, one of the men that preach my ordination, one of the only ones living, I guess, that preach my ordination. And my pastor, Brother Richard Horn, of course, has passed on, and some of the others that was there, Jack Norris, some of the others. And then my pastor's reading it. And then there's one more, and my mind went blank who it is. Kenny Baldwin. Evangelist Kenny Baldwin's got his copy, and he's reading it. So these men will read the manuscript and then give me a promotion to go on the back, an endorsement, and that'll be on the back cover of the book. And so that's in process now. We've already got probably 100 pictures picked out or more. That's going to be going into the book, and so those are ready. So we're still a little ways yet before it goes to the printer. But we're in the final stages, so pray for the book that God will use it. The hardback copy will be 1,000 editions only of signed numbered editions, but the paperback will be unlimited. I hope we'd sell 10,000 of them, and they'll all be on Amazon with all my other books. I have 20 other books that I've written, and they'll all be available on Amazon sometime this year, later this year, and they'll be available in paperback or in Kindle, and some will be available soon on audio, so you'll be able to purchase them. And then I hope the publisher likes this book enough that he'll give me a couple more contracts. And I've got 3 other books, one already started. And so I want to continue writing. And that's a way that helps me and my wife, will help us financially, that where I can't travel anymore like I did. This is a way we can make a little extra income to help us in our old age. Amen. Because I'm used to traveling and not able to do that anymore like I did. So we're on Social Security, as they call it, slow starvation. And thank God for that. We paid into it all these years, and now we're reaping that. My wife and I draw, and that pays our bills. And then, during cancer, we had other people that helped us, and that kept us going during cancer. And now we're through with that, and we're still under the doctor's care, but we're not in treatments as far as chemo or anything like that. We still take stuff for the cancer, but not chemo. And so God's been good to us, and we're just thankful God's still letting us serve him, even though it's in a much different way than what I'm used to. But you know what? I complained about it for a while, and I cried and felt a pity party for a while. But, my granddaughter said yesterday, said, Papa, said, you're reaching 460,000 people in 8 weeks. Said, you couldn't do that now if you preached every day the rest of your life. I said, you're right, darling. I said, I couldn't preach to 450,000 people. And so I've had to look at it through those eyes, that to be able to reach a million, 2 million people a year through social media, I couldn't do that traveling, not anymore. I could, maybe if I started out and I was 20 years old, I maybe could attempt to, but hard to reach a million people preaching every day. Preaching at 300 or 400 or 1,000 or 2,000 a night, take a long time to reach a million people. But in social media, through this little phone that I'm talking in this morning, I can reach thousands of people just in one little podcast. And over 8 weeks' time, reach 465,000 views. It's amazing. I've done several posts that got over 10,000 views. I can't even imagine 10,000 people just reading that post. So it's become a great tool, and I had to accept that this is where God's got me now, and that's my ministry. And then I have my local church I serve in, Buffalo Ridge Baptist Church, my pastor John Herdman, and I play this old Gibson or my Martin guitar every Sunday. This is my Gibson. My Martin's in the closet. I may play it tomorrow, but I play one of these guitars every Sunday, and I sing once in a while, and I teach Sunday school every now and then in my adult class. My teacher told me he was going to need me a couple more Sundays. He's got some conferences coming up. He's a missionary, and so I taught here a couple of weeks ago for 2 Sundays, and so I teach our adult class. Has about 100 in our adult class, and I've taught the auditorium class, and there's probably well over 100 in that on Sundays, because we run about 500 in Sunday school and 700 for preaching. So I've taught Sunday school 5, 6, 7 times in the last little while. And so teaching and singing and playing my guitar and doing live streams and writing and publishing my books, I'm a blessed man. And I get to stay home with my wife and get to be with my family. And so God's been good, and I thank him for that. I have no complaints. And so, but I want to come on this Saturday, since I didn't do a podcast yesterday, and just thank you for your support. And the books I've offered, I don't have them down here with me. They're upstairs in the office. I'm not going to go get them. It's too far to walk. You think that's funny? Wait till you get to be 69, 70 years old. You'll find out what I'm saying. Walking up the stairs, a little far to walk just to get a couple books. But I had 3 books offered for $25. The one was While the Church Slept. I wrote it during COVID. The other book was on apostasy, a nation in crisis. And the other little book was on suicide. And it has some things that I've learned through all the years of preaching to people that had family members that committed suicide. I've done not a lot, but quite a few suicide funerals of people that I was either pastor of or knew. Their families asked me to do their funerals. Suicide. When I was still pastoring in Winston-Salem, the last month I was there, a lady in our church, she was in her late 50s, and she took her life one morning while her husband went off to work. She committed suicide, and I had to do her funeral. Sad, sad. You say, why would somebody do that? Christians. Can a Christian commit suicide? Depression is so real. If you've never dealt with depression is so real that Satan can get you so down and so confused and so turned around that he tells you the only hope for you is suicide. That the best thing for you to do is to get out of everybody's way and just take your life, because look what God's brought you into. God's supposed to be taking care of you and how miserable you are. If God really loved you, this wouldn't be happening. He tells you the best thing you do is just get out of everybody's way. Take your life. That's what Satan does. And it's a real thing. And there's a lot of Christians that sit in church Sunday after Sunday that deal with depression, deep depression. And you'd be surprised on Sunday morning how many people are sitting there that either are contemplating suicide or have contemplated suicide. And it's a reality. So this little book tells about that. So I've got all 3 books for a gift of $25. So if you'd like to order them, you can look back in some of my previous podcasts this week. It's on the podcast up at the top. You'll see it in the post where it says my Cash App address and my PayPal address. So if you want to send $25, I'll send you those 3 books out. I just went to the post office this morning and mailed 2 sets of books that were ordered day before yesterday. They got mailed out today because I was gone all day yesterday. So they got mailed out this morning. And so if you want to order, set them for $25. If you want to put some extra in for shipping, that'll be fine. But if not, $25, I'll send them to you. And you can Cash App or PayPal or message me after this is over, and I'll give you my address, and you can send a check or a money order. It'll be fine. And then there's another book I offer too. It's called If My People. It's on revival. It's about a $25, $30 book. And for that, for $20, you can have it. If you want all 3 of them, all 4 of them, the 3 books and the 4th book, if you want all 4 of them, for $35, I'll send you all 4 of them. So if you want to do that, that helps me out. I think I've sent out 4 or 5 sets this week, and so that, $100 and some, that works out. That buys gas and food, and so that helps out quite a bit. So if you could do that, that would help us out. But being a subscriber will help. Viewing our page, sharing our page, praying for us, and then maybe buying some stars and posting some stars on here from time to time. All of that will go toward a financial investment in this social media and in our ministry. And we'd love to have you be a part. You are a part. You watch it and you make it happen. You make happening what's happening. What's being done now, you're making it possible. So share this post. This is on my back porch post with Brother David. And so thank you for watching on this Saturday morning. I hope you have a great weekend. It's a beautiful day today. It's going to be hot. So if you got to be outside, stay hydrated. Be sure to drink plenty of fluids, and not just Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Make sure you drink some Gatorade or something with some electrolytes in it. Pedialyte's the best. But if you don't want to drink Pedialyte, the purple's good. The grape is really good. If you'll get the Pedialyte and get it cold in the refrigerator, drink it, it gives you everything your body needs that you lose the salt and the electrolytes. And I've had to drink it because of the cancer and what it did to my stomach. The radiation did something to my intestines, and so I have a lot of problems with my stomach, and I lose a lot of fluids. So I have to drink a lot of fluids to replace that. So I drink Pedialyte from time to time. She'll buy me a big quart jug or half a gallon, and I'll turn it up and drink it over a couple of days. And so that helps keep my body where it needs to be as far as related to the electrolytes. And so that has nothing to do with my broadcast. I just gave that out for free. It don't cost you a dime. Amen. Well, thank you so much. I've got my silver cup here, my stainless steel cup, and I've got it sitting on here, and I've got my fan that is running and blowing on my side here while I'm sitting here in my chair. And the crows are in my backyard now trying to sing, and they sound like a demon-possessed bird. And so I'm not going to stay out here much longer. It's starting to get warm. But I hope you have a great day. Whatever you do, be safe, be careful. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy time with family. Don't take it for granted. Time goes by too fast. And Lord willing, tomorrow be in your place at church. And if I don't see you again on this Facebook network, I will meet you somewhere up above the treetops when the Lord comes. God bless you.